Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and trends shaping our world. President Trump has announced an economic D-Day against Iran, promising a sweeping campaign of financial isolation aimed at any country that keeps Tehran's economy on life support. This move has sent shockwaves through the oil market, with Brent crude jumping over 2% to $94 a barrel. But despite this spike, prices are still well below the panic peaks we saw earlier in the year. To put this into perspective, the State Street Energy Select Sector SPDR ETF has returned over 44% year to date, with major players like ExxonMobil and Chevron seeing significant gains. Tanker operators have also benefited, with some stocks surging as much as 99%. However, it's worth noting that sector earnings are projected to climb 57% in 2026, but are expected to reverse in 2027 once supply normalizes. As we consider the implications of this economic showdown, it's essential to remember that the market has learned to price in incremental escalation risk rather than reacting to every headline. The physical evidence on the ground also suggests that the war is becoming a battle of economic endurance, with both sides digging in for the long haul. Iran's foreign minister has dismissed the new sanctions push as a distraction from America's own debt problems, which could indicate that Tehran is not preparing to back down anytime soon. Meanwhile, the looming U.S. midterm elections may create pressure on the Trump administration to manufacture a resolution or de-escalation, which could rapidly unwind energy gains. As we navigate this complex and ever-evolving situation, it's crucial to strike a balance between reacting to the latest news and taking a step back to assess the bigger picture. We'll continue to monitor developments and provide you with in-depth analysis and insights. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a complex and sensitive issue that's been unfolding in Spain. The country is grappling with a significant influx of migrants in its North African enclave, Ceuta. Reports indicate that thousands of people, mostly from sub-Saharan Africa, have entered the territory, sparking debates about how to handle the situation. At the heart of this debate are the fate of migrant children, with estimates suggesting there are between 2,500 to 4,000 unaccompanied minors in Ceuta. Spanish law mandates that these children be placed under the care of child protection services, but the right-wing dominated parliament has called for all irregular arrivals to be returned to Morocco. The EU Commission has also weighed in, with a spokesperson stating that the expectation is for all those remaining in Ceuta illegally to be returned. However, charities like Save the Children have raised concerns about the lack of space in child reception facilities, leaving many of these children sleeping on the streets. In response, Spain's Interior Ministry has agreed to temporarily transfer 500 vulnerable minors to its mainland, with negotiations ongoing to accommodate more. This move aims to address the immediate needs of these children while longer-term solutions are explored. It's a challenging situation that highlights the complexities of migration policies and the need for balanced approaches that consider both the rights and needs of migrants as well as the capacities and laws of host countries. As this story continues to unfold, it will be crucial to monitor how Spain and the EU navigate these issues, ensuring that the welfare of these migrant children remains a priority. Welcome back to the show, everyone. As we wrap up today's episode of Concrete Block, I want to bring to your attention two important stories that highlight the ongoing debate about regulation and free speech in the digital age. The Federal Trade Commission has recently proposed a policy that aims to police AI-generated speech, targeting content that is distorted by undisclosed ideological objectives and so-called equity. This proposal has sparked a heated discussion, with over 300 public comments revealing deep concerns about the government's role in regulating AI-generated content. On one hand, some argue that this policy is necessary to combat bias and ensure transparency in AI systems. Others, however, see it as a threat to free speech and an attempt to control what AI services can and cannot say. The debate has also been influenced by concerns about China's growing presence in the global AI market and its own approach to content control. In fact, many comments on the FTC proposal mention China as a factor, with some arguing that the US needs to take a stronger stance on regulating AI content to stay competitive with China. Others, however, warn that this approach could lead to censorship and undermine the values of free speech and open discussion that are fundamental to American democracy. It's a complex issue, and one that requires careful consideration of the potential consequences. As we navigate this rapidly evolving landscape, it's essential to strike a balance between protecting users from harm and preserving the freedom of expression that is essential to a healthy democracy. The second story that caught my attention is related to the same theme. An obscure FTC proposal has exposed the widening fight over what AI can say, with many influential industry, legal, and advocacy groups weighing in on the issue. The debate highlights the geopolitical stakes of regulating AI-generated content, with China's approach to content control being seen as a counterpoint to the US approach. As we consider these issues, it's essential to remember that the development of AI is a global phenomenon, and that different countries have different values and priorities when it comes to regulating this technology. While some may see China's approach to content control as a threat, others may view it as a necessary step to protect users from harm. Ultimately, the key to navigating these complex issues is to engage in open and informed discussion, considering multiple perspectives and weighing the potential consequences of different approaches. By doing so, we can work towards creating a regulatory framework that balances protection with freedom and ensures that the benefits of AI are realized while minimizing its risks. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.